seconds for each slide.
Well, first of all, the Political Thinkers project helped me to learn to be a public speaker and to speak more confidently in large group of people.
Political Thinkers project, agree with you, the public speaking was a big thing that I learned from that one, as well as trying to emulate a person's kind of presence from that, just from reading about them too. I did someone who was an uber feminist, and so trying to convey their personal thoughts and ideas was interesting to try to do that from the past.
The Revolution project helped me to learn about a new form of debating, which was the online form of debating, which was really interesting because I'd only ever done debates face-to-face.
Yeah. The Revolution project was helpful for debating against sort of public speaking, but the online format kind of gave you how to really rebut a claim in a way that you can fully just kind of shut it down.
Yeah. And you have more time to respond.
Oh yeah.
It's face-to-face.
It's more thought out than we would have been able to do in a live debate because we're not that skilled at debating.
Very true. The innovation documentaries was pretty cool because everyone got to learn how to use iMovie and different movie apps a lot better. And
it was interesting to see everybody following their passion and what they...
Yeah, because everyone got to choose their own topic, so it really got to be a very broad project with lots of cool things. The imperialism books were really interesting because even though we did have some specific guidelines, we were pretty free to research a lot of different things within those guidelines, and that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The Peace and Reconciliation project I really liked because it
watching that whole story develop from before, during, and after.
Right, and the format of the Pachow was new and different, and it was kind of difficult to get all your slides into your speaking into 20 seconds for each slide, but it was pretty fun at the end. Yeah. Okay. So then I'll say
the Political Thinkers was a really interesting way to learn about the past because you have to write from that person's point of view, so you obviously have to know a lot about them in order to, exactly like I said before, convey what, they think and what they... Well, my person was Kate Millett, and so I learned a lot about, her work and essays that she wrote, and, she was, kind of a radical...
My person was Angela Merkel, and I learned a lot about her. She was the first female chancellor of Germany, and there were a lot of interesting things about how she really paved the way for a lot of other female politicians.
My group chose transportation, which I wouldn't exactly say was our passion at the time, but it turned out to be a really interesting subject. It turned to be really interesting because we learned all about Elon Musk and his Hyperloop that they're making prototypes of that could travel it could travel from San Francisco to Los Angeles in 20 minutes, and it goes lightning speed. And we learned a lot about kind of the evolution of how it went. And for our interview for Interviewing Professional, we didn't really interview professional. We went around town interviewed people about what was a major transportation advancement in their time, and we got a huge range from people saying the electric car, which was pretty common, to some lady said the train. And how she used to go out on roller skates when she was a kid, and that's how she got around.
So cute.
Yeah, it was really interesting to learn about that because I honestly did not know that much about it before, and so, yeah.
Well, my documentary was on deep sea exploration and the different kinds of creatures that live in the deep ocean, and that was really interesting because some of them were really strange, and they've adapted to live in this really harsh environment with extreme pressure and no light whatsoever and very little food, and it's really interesting to see how these animals have adapted to survive.
Imperialism books, I did the DRC,
there you go.
Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Last year.
Did that last year too. And my book, we called it From Congo with a K to Congo with a C because when they were imperialized, it was called Congo with a K, and then, anyways. And I was chapter 2, which is Imperialism Happens, and so I learned a lot about how King Leopold kind of came into power and how his reign kind of began. What about you?
Mine was India, which was really interesting because I learned about all this revolutionary stuff that happened there that I didn't know about. But adding on to the one main story that you always hear about, which is Gandhi, I learned a lot more about the revolution, so it's very interesting.
Yeah. For the Peace and Reconciliation Project, we both did Cambodia. I learned just so much about the genocide and everything that happened with, S-21 and just this whole thing that most people don't know about. Like, it just went completely kind of off the radar. Like, I don't know, it was interesting.
It was interesting that there was this whole genocide there, not even 50 years ago, that I had never heard about. And it was 2 million people, but it got so little coverage that I had never even heard about it until we did this project.
It was a Holocaust.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it was very...
But it was interesting because without this project I probably never would have heard of it because nobody really talks about it.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of other terrible events that have happened in the world. It was interesting.